The world has changed. We must accept that fact. People are fearful, but still, it has never been easier to connect through social media and bring people together. We are learning from others and challenging our beliefs. We are conquering our fears so we can transform ourselves and transform the world. How far can we go? It's up to us. We must conquer fear, crush mediocrity, stay motivated. In the think tank, our mission is to never settle for anything less than an extraordinary life. Welcome to the think tank with Martin Spencer. Welcome to the think tank. Today we have my good friend Vic Theobalds, my old school buddy. It's been 40 years, and he has a new book out by he and his brother. So Vic, welcome to the think tank, my friend.
Thank you. It has been a long time, but it gives us the opportunity to rekindle old relationships.
That's right. You know, it's always been said that friends don't talk to each other every day. And we were in school, we were in high school together. Then we went apart, and by the magic of artificial intelligence, the internet, we were reconnected. And here you are, after 40 years. Imagine that. Can you imagine that? Wow. Like I said, when you were in school in high school, you were the most troublesome kid I knew. You and Leslie Duboulet, all these guys, you guys were in trouble all the time, man, all the time. But it's nice to see that you came here, just like me, and we made life better for our families as a reason coming to the United States. So tell us a little bit about you. When you came to the States, what did you do?
So I migrated after my dad died. My mom and I migrated to the United States in 1971, and we moved to New York City, where I lived for about 5 years, and then decided to join the armed forces. I joined the Marine Corps.
Oh, thank you for your service, man. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Today's 9/11 too.
Well, so that was before 9/11, and yes, so we lost a lot of fine people as a result of 9/11, and since then,
right,
in both Afghanistan and Iraq. But I did join the Marine Corps and was stationed various locations in the U.S. I did a 3-year tour of duty, and in 1978 moved to Berkeley, California, where I continued my college education. I went to school at Cal State Hayward with a bachelor's degree in finance. And soon after, I joined General Electric Company in San Jose, and spent quite a bit of time with GE, and moved around quite a bit. Lived in Canada, Syracuse, Virginia, Indianapolis on 3 separate occasions.
Wonderful.
But eventually, General Electric sold the division I was with, which is the TV business, to a French company called Thomson. And they managed that business a few years, and then I retired from both Thomson and GE.
Good.
And today I live in Gulfport, Mississippi, with my wife, and we're here because her mother, who's 92 years old, doesn't live too far from us, and we're helping to take care of her mother.
Good. Does she live by herself, the mom?
No, she does live with other members of the family.
Okay, good.
But she would come down on occasion and spend some time with us. But my wife does most of the traveling up to Hattiesburg, where she lives, to spend time with her.
Yeah, I'm fortunate to still have my dad, and my dad's going to be 90 in January. 90 years old, man. You know, wow, that's some good living. You know.
Yes, it certainly is. Yeah. And I do remember your dad and my mom working in the same location. My mom was in the nursery, and your dad was in the dispensary.
That's it.
Yeah, that was a few years ago.
Man, tell you how time goes by. I lost my mother in 2000, and it still pains, man. It still pains. The loss of a mother is always painful. I don't care how old you get, right?
Yeah, oh
Oh
yes.
yeah, definitely,
And in
definitely.
fact, I lost my mother a year later in 2001.
Right, good.
Yeah.
So I understand. Great, great. So now that we know a little bit about you, man, you and your brother have put together a book called Our Caribbean. And the purpose of the book is to promote not just St. Lucia, but the whole Caribbean. Especially now with the advent of COVID, it's really timely. And I really cherish the opportunity to promote my island, island St. Lucia, my wife's island, Barbados, and all the other Caribbean, because they all need it. They took such a hit in COVID. It's been devastating for them. We are basically an island based on tourism, most of the islands, and they've
Yeah,
been
that
shut
is
down.
correct.
And they've been shut down. And I talk to my sisters and friends. It's really going through a hard time right now. So tell us a little bit about the book.
So about 4 years ago, my brother started thinking about putting together his thoughts about the Caribbean. And little over a year ago, he finished writing the manuscript.
Hmm.
And one of the things that he wanted me to do, since he's retired living in St. Lucia,
Hmm.
we talked about getting the book published in the United States. So I became the point person to negotiate with the publisher
Right.
to publish the book. And we started those negotiations last year, about last year, September. And the book was finally published and it's available now starting this month.
Okay.
So the book is entitled Our Caribbean. And my brother, the author, Bernard, had two things he wanted to ensure got across in his message and his writings. One is the historical perspective of the Caribbean, and from the time of Christopher Columbus, almost half a millennium
Yeah.
ago,
Hmm.
and to the present day. But in addition, and maybe even more importantly, he wanted to use the book to promote the islands.
Hmm.
And so we are aggressively targeting North Americans,
Hmm.
but also Europeans as well. Since, as you indicated, a lot of the islands, their main economic growth comes from tourism,
That's correct.
that we're hoping through the exposure of the book that more people will be inclined to visit not just St. Lucia, which is where we're from,
Right.
but the entire Caribbean,
Right.
from the Bahamas near Florida
Hmm.
to the ABC islands of Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao,
Hmm.
toward the southern part of the chain
Right.
near South America.
Right.
So within the book itself, each island, each populated island has its own chapter.
Right.
And there are interesting facts about each island
Hmm.
from a historical perspective, but also from a promotional perspective. My brother was very keen on making sure that the islands were really promoted through the use of the book.
Right.
And he took pretty strong positions in terms of telling people about different places on each of the island, interesting facts and figures.
Right.
For example, in St. Lucia, you can't escape the majesty of the pitons.
Right.
And in the Grand Cayman, the 7 Mile Beach is fascinating.
Mhm.
He also talked about the ethnic diversity of Trinidad. I
Right.
mean, name one island across the entire globe that's ethnically as diverse as Trinidad and Tobago.
That's right.
Probably none.
Hmm.
He talks about the pulsating of reggae in Jamaica,
Hmm.
and how the islands are soaked in rum and jovial.
Hmm.
So he really wants to convey a message to visitors. Please visit our islands. Please come share what we have to offer.
Right. That is great, man. I'm glad that he kind of used a broad spectrum rather than just St. Lucia or Barbados or Trinidad. It's because whenever I talk, I always give my little island a plug. I always do. I don't know when next I'll be there because it's tough to travel now.
Yeah.
And if you go, even if you went home, you still got to be quarantined. Can you imagine that?
Yes.
So it's really been. the other thing too is that today being the anniversary of 9/11, and you being in the Marines, right?
Yes.
How does that affect you in any way when you
So
9/11 comes around?
absolutely, and it never fades from my memory.
Hmm.
I watched the recreation of the events on that day,
Hmm.
and brought a lot of sadness to me. One of the moments that is etched in my brain, people who are jumping off 100-story buildings,
Yeah,
knowing that they would be dying. That's etched in my mind. Never forget.
yeah,
But equally as important, in both Afghanistan and Iraq, we have lost a lot of good soldiers, good Americans, good patriots. The thing about 9/11 is that it I think it's etched in everybody's mind exactly where you were
right.
when the towers got hit. And for me, I can never forget. I was in the copy room making some copies at the company that I worked for, and there was a television above the copier, and actually saw the second plane hit the building, and then I knew it was not an accident. Because initially there was some thought that it was a small plane that initially hit the towers by accident.
Right.
But once you saw that plane hit, you knew it was no longer an accident, that
Right.
it
Second
was an
one.
act of terror. Yeah.
Exactly. I too, I remember it very vividly. I actually saw the first plane hit. Then I saw the second plane, and most of all, I saw people jumping.
Yeah.
That's what man. How can I mean? You have to. It must be a terrible thought to know that that's the end. You see the flames, and you either go this way, or you go left, or you go right out the window. And to jump to escape that heat must have been the most terrifying thing for anyone in the world, man. So
Unimaginable.
it brings sadness to me every time I hear it. Even though I was not involved in the armed forces, but a lot of my friends were in the armed forces. I spoke to a gentleman last week, Doctor. He's a PhD in cybersecurity, and he spent 35 years in the Navy. Traveled the world. He joined the Navy to see the world for 5 years, and he ended up spending 35 years. He enjoyed every bit of it, and he was an interesting person to talk to, and he made some thoughts about that also. So I just wanted to make reference to that because I know most people who are in the armed forces, it touches them deeply. You know,
Oh yes.
it touches them deeply. But again, let's go back to the book. So the main purpose of the book is a moment to give us a history of the islands, and then to promote the book so that we can have people understand what the islands are all about, and that they're there. We need the tourists from North America and Canada. And how do you think the book can impact what we are doing right now with tourism?
Well, I mean, this is really is a critical moment. So we know that travel today is very difficult.
Right.
But this is a good opportunity for someone who has some interest, and there are really three audiences that we are addressing with the book. One audience is potential visitors, people who have never been to the Caribbean, who want to know a little bit about the Caribbean before they go.
Right.
So that's one target audience. Another target audience are visitors who've already been, but really didn't know a whole lot about the islands they visited.
Right.
So there you have an opportunity to buy the book and read a little bit more about the islands that you visited.
Right.
And the third audience, believe it or not, are us, or the islanders,
Right.
right? To get to know about our neighbors a little bit better. Generally, if you're from St. Lucia, you know all about St. Lucia, but how much do we know about Barbados and the people from Barbados, or the Cayman Islands, or Antigua? So it's also an opportunity for us to get to know our neighbors, our Caribbean neighbors, a little bit better.
Right.
So those are the three targeted audiences. There's also maybe a fourth audience, which would be applicable to all students of history. anyone who's going to school and wants to learn a little bit about Caribbean history.
Right.
I think it's a brief but a really impactful piece of information that students of history could learn a lot from.
Wonderful. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm going to reach out to Harry Best.
Yes.
Harry and I communicate a lot on WhatsApp, and we always send each other anything of interest for the islands. He just sent me a great text. I'll send it to you. A great piece about the history of St. Lucia on Wikipedia. They had it was amazing facts I didn't even know about St. Mary's College. You know, I'll send it to you. It's amazing information. It's good. It's good. It's good history. I mean, as we have gone, we know, like I said, all of us have been gone over 40 years, and there's so much history that as kids we never paid attention to it. You know.
That's quite true.
And now as we get adults, we are amazed by, wow. Like I'm gonna pick up the copy of the book definitely, not only to read it but to support and if I can share it in many ways. Like you said, the book is available on Amazon.
Okay, so the book was just released earlier this week. Actually, Monday of this week, the book was released and is available from Amazon. It's also available from Barnes and Noble and any other major retailer. But equally, the book is also available from the publisher, and the publisher is Archway Publishing.
Archway Publishing. Okay.
Yes. So the book is available in soft cover for $18.99.
Okay.
But it's also available in digital format. So if you have a Kindle or a format similar, the book can be downloaded for $4.99 from both Barnes and Noble and Amazon and other book retailers as well.
Okay. Yeah, my book should be out. I'm trying to get it by the end of the year. I'm self-publishing. Move your body, move your brain. You know, I'm still in the fitness business. You know.
Yes, yes.
It never leaves me. You know, it never leaves me. Definitely.
Well, you're one of the track stars in St. Lucia.
Yes, indeed.
For a long time.
Yes, indeed. We lost our buddy Carlisle.
Yes.
Months ago. It saddened me because he was the one who sponsored me and got me to the next level. You know, all of us always aspired, and when you have someone like him and other people who lift and bring other people up, like I brought up 2 other kids, he brought me up, I brought 2 more up, and it's always a joy. Some people are gone from, you know, you're sad, but you look at the good side of things.
Oh yeah.
How did it impact my life? He impacted my life in a big way, and consequently I impacted a few other people's lives too. So I passed it on as much as I could. And I still do that every day. I still try to pass it on and share wisdom. But the whole purpose of what I do now is to give value, to bring value to the world, to heal the world in whatever way I can. Because if every one of us does a small part, the world will be a better place.
Absolutely.
We all do. Even your book, your One Caribbean, is it authored by your brother Bernard?
Correct.
Specifically, and you were just his agent, so you guys are tag teaming.
Right. So in essence, I'm the North American publicist.
Okay.
Yes. So I was the one who negotiated with the publisher, got the book published, but the entire manuscript was Bernard's idea, plan, and he spent about 4 years writing it.
Yeah, I remember Bernard very, you know, he was not my contemporary. You were my contemporary, but I knew who he was. He was ahead of us. He was ahead of the electric company in St. Lucia for many years, and he was a great guy.
So in fact, during that time, he was also the chairman of an organization called Carolac. And it was a group of islands, and he was the chairman of the electricity service in all of those islands.
Right.
And the whole idea was to promote new technologies in electricity to provide electrical services to many of the islands. Good. So he spent quite a bit of time working and also visiting many of the islands that he writes about today.
So it was really endemic of him to really do that and include all the islands, not just St. Lucia, his home island.
Correct. So again, each island, each populated island has its own chapter in the book.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to reading it because education right now, I'm all about excellence. And I read, I'm an avid reader. I taught myself how to speed read. I read about 2 to 3 books a week. And because the more knowledge, if you read a lot, Knowledge just comes to you.
Knowledge is king. Absolutely.
Knowledge is king.
But you, now I'd love for you to go out and buy a book, and that's great. But I will offer you one. I will send one to you.
Okay, that's wonderful. I appreciate it. And I will pass it along. Like I said, my whole audience is in St. Lucia, throughout the Caribbean. I'm in Dubai, New Zealand, Australia, the Caribbean, the entire US. So I'm definitely going to promote it wherever I do. I'll put a link. And I wish you guys a lot of Godspeed with the book. Great for publishing it. The world needs to know about what the islands are hurting. And the islands need our tourism. They need tourism.
Absolutely.
It's an economic base. And that economic base has been destroyed by COVID. And if people only knew how bad it was. We are fortunate.
Yeah, so you know, we typically say in the Caribbean, we're always happy.
Right.
But I think the islands, for the most part, particularly those that rely to a large extent on tourism and foreign visitors to the islands, those islands are hurting today.
Oh my! It's, you know, I just shiver when I hear what's going on there. Just the abject, not poverty, but just the lack of being able to make a living with the little people who sell the vegetables in the market, people who bake the bread, and the tourists come. The little shops, all the little private shops, people are just, you know, I call them micro entrepreneurs, you know, and that's the base, that's the economic base of most of the islands, is micro entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Well, Vic, buddy, it's been a pleasure.
It has been.
Pleasure, man.
It has been.
Wow. We're never going to lose touch again. We'll stay in touch a little bit often. But I wish you all the best for you and the family. We'll stay in touch. I will post this, and this is going to go viral. We'll make it go viral. Let this book know the world. Let the world know the book. And let everybody come to St. Lucia and Barbados and wherever they want to go. We're not selfish.
Like I said, you know, from the Bahamas in close to Florida, all the way down to the coast of South America, all these islands are available to and are very welcoming to visitors. And you know this, that islanders from the Caribbean are very welcoming. Always have a smile for a visitor. Always want to share knowledge with visitors. We are probably some of the most pleasant people on earth.
Yes, island people. Oh yes, islanders, without a doubt, without a doubt. And as we have grown and moved away, I always make reference to my island. I always give them a plug, and I know you do. So this is a big plug for not just St. Lucia, but for all the Caribbean islands. Asking all our friends and people who want to travel, don't give it a second thought. It's getting better. It'll keep getting better. So my buddy, my friend, I want to wish you all the best with the book. Tell Bernard hello for me. You talk with him. I'm going to share this with him when we finish all our edits and a promo, and I'll make sure that this goes viral. I promise you that.
Thank you, and we will have to stay in touch.
Oh, without a doubt.
Regardless of the miles between us,
yes,
we will have to continue to stay in touch. After 40 years of knowing each other, wow, in the U.S., right? Apart from St. Lucia.
So close, yes, so far. So
but
far,
it's so good to talk with you and to see you. Best of luck also to you and your family, and much success for the balance of this year and 2021 coming up.
Well, like I said, 2021, there's so many unknowns right now, but you know, once you have a positive mindset, you've got to have a positive mindset. You always look at the best. I'm an eternal optimist. Things happen, life moves on, but you've got to pivot. You got to make things happen. You got to create the environment for yourself and your family. There's no fear. There's no box. You can't say you think outside the box. Now we should have no box. Just live the best life possible. But once again, my friend, it's been great. Godspeed. Thank you for being in the think tank. And,
thank you.
Give my regards to your brother Bernard and your family.
I certainly will, and my regards to your dad.
Good, wonderful. I tell him that because he'll remember you, the troublesome kid. Yeah, I remember the troublesome kid, Vic. Vic, yeah, he remember you. Yeah. My dad has a great memory. He remembers like he remembers everybody, all my friends, because he knows all my buddies. You know. Good. Anyway, my friend, you take care of yourself, and we'll be in touch
Okay.
soon. But most of all, thank you for being in the think tank. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
My pleasure. Bye bye.
All right.